I'm going to be tagging my friends into my YouTube video before I start talking. Be right back. My neck is feeling better and my headache is better because I ate some food, and usually when I eat food it makes me feel better. And also the electromagnetic storm that was out last night, and I think somewhat today, throughout the day today, has taken a break, I think, because uh, we've been having lots of electromagnetic storms this year, especially this time of year, and it's because we have migraine headaches. My migraine headaches is caused by barometric pressure changes, which is caused by weather changes, and weather changes are caused by electromagnetic changes within planet Earth's, the sun's, and the moon's electromagnetic and gravitational fields. I have a risk factor for developing osteoporosis. That's what the x-ray said. I was talking to a friend on Facebook that was a target individual. And knows a lot of things. Before I made this video, I also was in the kitchen and making things for tomorrow to eat. Tomorrow I'm going to be eating vegan stroganoff with broccoli or some other vegetables. And I'm going to be making myself some muffins, making myself some apple autumn all berry muffins along with blueberry banana nut muffins tomorrow. Or I will make myself some chocolate muffins. No, not chocolate muffins. It's not even around my period time. I just do the fruit ones. And I might even make myself some high protein muffins that would be like energy bars that I can eat in the middle of the day for a snack. That would be made out of mushrooms, medicinal and edible mushrooms, nuts, and have some spices in them, because I think that honey mushrooms, that I can somehow make them a sweet treat, that I can do things with them. Then I could put some chaga, reishi, and turkey tail mushrooms in my muffins and put them on top of my muffins as decorations for the muffins. That kind of stuff. Even the resinous polypore mushrooms, I think that I can make them into a sweet something. Maybe not, because they taste too much like beef and meat to make into something sweet, so maybe don't use those ones. Today, I went outside to move around a little bit because it helps me move around a little bit to dodge the direct energy weapon attacks and the mind control attacks in general. I also went outside to collect some mushrooms too, and to plant some pistachios and coffee grinds around my mushrooms because mushrooms like coffee grinds and nutshells to grow. Their mycelium, because the mycelium, the white network that grows in the ground and around sticks, is what the mushrooms come from. And the mushrooms are like fruits or flowers that come in the mycelium. Today, I also was trying to find some things to wear and messing around my clothes because I was just bored. Just wanted to find something to do. They keep on making me think that I am at the center of attention. I don't care about getting attention, but there's also a side of me that doesn't want attention because attention means that I have a lot of power and people are going to follow my lead or bully me out of special negative attention. And I don't want people to do something wrong to somebody else or do something stupid because I influenced them to do that without even knowing that I fucking influenced them to do that. And they just did something because of what I said or did, being that it's a good idea for them to do it at the wrong situation with the wrong people. And I also don't want them to do anything wrong to me because I get a lot of attention, which it's kind of brave and selfless for me to make these YouTube videos and even have the dream to become President of the United States of America, despite being a Sigma female, and even if I were a man, a Sigma male, a person that doesn't like attention. But then again, I gotta get the fuck over it that I'm always going to get somebody's attention. You know, there will always be people that will be those types of rude people that will stare at me if I eat at a restaurant or something like that. I'm just need to get the fuck over that kind of stuff. But the reason why I need to get attention is because I need to get attention when I need it to get something done, and I need other people to help me get it done because it's very important, not just for me but for other people, like fighting for freedom, fighting for us target individuals, patriotic Americans who are being tortured, oppressed, and fucked over by our government and by the criminal factions of it, which is the deep state and shadow government. And it doesn't pay off in the end to be a complete hermit crab and not have attention. You need attention here or there if you need help with something. And that's what I need help with. I need help getting subscribers to my YouTube channel and other stuff in order for me to fight for certain individuals and patriotic Americans who know what's going on and knows what's happening to us. In order for you to care about something, you have to give it attention. And that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell people about key issues ruining our country and the world. And in order for people to give it more attention and more thought to care about it and actually do something about it. Or try to get somebody else to do something about it if they can't do it because they're in a wheelchair or they have problems speaking because of a nervous system problem or have cancer. And that's why I make these damn vids on YT, because I'm trying to get my story heard as a target individual. That's my target individual logs. And I'm also trying to support my other target individuals in the target individual community by making myself a representative thereof on this platform. And I know I'm a good representative for anything because I'm number one, logical, number two, a good person, mostly a good person. I wouldn't mind being Robin Hood and stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. No, a lot of people would say that that's wrong to steal from anybody. But when it's a person like Elon Musk or Bill Gates, most of the stuff that they have is stuff that they've stolen from others, that they have racketeered to get. And even if it is their stuff, they have too much of it, and that they're using a shit ton of it to destroy people. And I would steal somebody's gun who's a serial killer to stop them from killing people. You know, that'd be quite dangerous because the serial killer would come after me and try to kill me with something else. Or might wind up getting their gun back somehow and kill me out as a revenge for stealing their murder weapon. But I would do something like that, especially if they murder somebody I knew, like you, my fellow target individuals, or my family members. I would do something like that, even if it would get me killed. And I wouldn't mind being killed, because at least it would take me out of my pain and suffering as a victim of my child syndrome by proxy, narcissistic personality disorder mom, and a target individual, or what Kenneth Perry would call Vitae. And also because I hate the damn world I live in. I'm a victim of the damn world that we live in. It's a hard world to live in, and I would like to go out as a hero that did something, because then I would feel like people wouldn't be a repeat of me in my tragedy. And a person's legacy isn't their kids and grandkids. A person's legacy is the domino effect that their life and death had on the world. And that's my legacy, is to try to make sure that what happened to me and when I knew what other stuff that happened to other people doesn't happen to anybody else. And it's kind of hard to do that, considering how complicated the world is. Meaning my fellow target individuals and patriotic Americans who are my friends and viewers of my YouTube channel and actually watch it. I make this YouTube channel and videos and some posts with it because I kind of have to. This doesn't matter if I don't want to do it or not. If I'm in a bad mood that day, I have to make something. I have to talk about something for number one, my own mental hygiene, because it makes me feel better doing this. helps me practice talking. Number 2, I'm bored. And number 3, because it is an altruistic and philanthropist thing for me to do for my country and humanity to make myself a case study. I also make a good representative and a case study for the target individual community because most target individuals are Christian bozos, Jews, and Muslims from my experience. But I'm not. I am a Luciferian pagan, or what people would just call a Satanist, a spiritual Satanist, that Thomas Sheraton and Thomas Leroy talks about. Uh, and what that other person's called is knocked. I'm going to go and look his YouTube video channel up on my PS5 real quick for me to figure out what this person is that I'm trying to think about.
There's a plant.
Nope. This is the person that I follow on YouTube. His name is Alistair Noct. Alistair Noct Satanism, Theistic Satanism, and Satanic Magic. If you like what you hear, subscribe and like. Alistair Noct is a Theistic Satanist, Satanic Magus, and leader. And I follow this guy called Thomas Leroy. This is what I'm into. This is my religion right here. And it's not evil. It's actually more science and spirituality, but with a Luciferic and satanic spin to it. And it's not evil at all. And actually, theistic Satanists and spiritual Satanists are different than Anton LaVey Satanists because they don't worship just themselves. They actually worship the universe and higher powers like Christians and pagans do. And they're not, they don't do what the LaVeyan Satanists do, and that's try to get a fucking reaction out of Christians. They do this stuff because it improves their life, not because they want to get back at Christians. And Christianity has had enough fucking attention. I don't want to get Christianity more attention, or what I would call psychic vampirism goody-goodies. Because the God of the Bible, Jehovah, is a fucking energy vampire, a psychic vampire. The more you give Christians and Jews attention, the more they have power over you. The more their God has power over you. That's why they worship him non-stop, because he's a psychic vampire, getting their energy from him when they do that. And the more attention and time you give to an agenda, your own agenda or somebody else's agenda, the more the agenda manifests. That's what government's doing. That's why governments, dictators to even presidents like Donald Trump, like it when you give them attention, even if it's wrong attention, bad PR. I'll do this.
Many people view Satanism as just a way to rebel, a way to be evil. I'm a theistic Satanist, which means I recognize Satan, or Satanas as he is known, as a real entity, an entity that I have a relationship with, as well as our coven, Magnum Opus. Without the entity Satanas, there is no power in magic. There is no power in atheistic Satanism. It is the connection between the source and the practitioner that fulfills the needs of the practitioner. If this interests you, contact me or go to my website at alistairnocht.com. Ave Satanas. You have to find your place in this and make sure that you know how you fit into it, and that's where you get the most reward from it. You have to find your place in this and make sure.
If there's anyone watching who is deeply offended by Satanism, but is open to hearing where you're coming from, what would you say to them?
Good. It's good to be offended, because then it makes you think. And then you can start to read. Read everything. Read your holy books. Read things on Satanism. Read things on atheism. Why not? What is it going to do? Yes, it can make you question your faith. But if you cannot answer, as the Bible says to do, to answer and tell anyone why you believe, then you are not following the great...
If there's anyone watching who is
Well, Johnny has shorts on this one. He has a different YouTube video channel. Well, but he has something on here. Nope. Nope. And you should watch this guy's videos too.
Lucifer.
Satan is not against good morals. He is opposed to Jesus Christ. A man can have good morals his entire life, yet you and I know he will go to hell when he dies. It is Jesus Christ that everyone needs, and the devil knows this more than all of us.
Dr. Anderson.
Satan's goal is to remove the name of Christ from his commands. And when we do this, people are deceived into thinking that if they live a good life, they will receive God's approval and attain heaven.
I think we can use morals to attract people to the Lord.
Yes, but the ultimate issue in Christianity is the authority of Christ. And the devil is attacking this authority by convincing us to teach morals. Satan is not against good morals.
Lucifer and Satan. These two names for most people stand for the ultimate evil, but the truth is that Lucifer is not Satan. In the original Hebrew language of the Bible, the word that got translated as Lucifer is actually Hallel, which means shining one or morning star. Satan isn't a name at all. It's a Hebrew word that means adversary or accuser, and in Judaism, Satan isn't seen as an evil, rebellious angel or even a being in opposition to God. Instead, Satan is a servant of God whose role is to act as an accuser. The point is that these religious narratives we've been fed by the church have been used to control us. Essentially, we have to understand that these stories never actually happened, but they contain powerful symbolism, and these symbols can be interpreted and portrayed in different ways. And this can be done for power and control. Lucifer and Satan. These two names for most people.
You seem quite emotional in your question. However, I'm kind of bothered why you would break the third commandment and feel that you need to use God's name in vain in asking this question. Nevertheless, I'll answer your question, my friend. Isaiah 14 is where we go. In Isaiah 14, you see a striking double prophecy against the human, high and mighty king of Babylon, and also against an angel who decided he would take over the throne of God. Look at verse 14. Because of that, verse 12 says, he is brought down from heaven. There is no doubt you're seeing something celestial in this double prophecy. Now, the reason why Lucifer is used in one translation and not another, one translation calls him the bright one calls him the shining star, and things like that. Well, the very reliable Latin Vulgate was a Latin translation in the Bible, and it was used, and the term for shining is Lucifero. So many translations would just adopt that and put that in for the name, but that's the reason why. You seem quite emotional in your question. However,
This is absolute. One of the greatest misunderstandings that I have confronted people with in recent years, and it's understandable because ignorance is basically the oil which drives human behavior. Enlightenment is not something that people, ordinary people, wish to partake in, because enlightenment is similar to the tarot card in the tarot, in that
I'm trying to find this video that I've seen. Okay.
I was just looking there. Some few people are calling me a Satanist again. Fine, Tommy. Yeah. What the title of this video is Why I'm Not a Satanist. Now, I really like Satanism. I think Satanism has a lot going for it, but it has one vital aspect missing to it, and that's what. That is the reason why I'm not a Satanist. Now, this Satanism is essentially a ritualized form of atheism that puts human rights and humanism ahead of all else. So therefore,
And that's good,
it's
because for
very,
most of us on planet Earth are humans.
about the humanistic approach, which is a good thing, a good way to live. So it respects freedom of speech, people's rights to have a private life between consenting adults in their own home, that you can do anything you want sexually once you're not hurting another person or a child. You can you try to strive to do the right thing in life. You accept that science is the primary arbiter of Western civilization in terms of how civilization should be proceeded with. So therefore, they're very much into reductionist science, and people like Carl Sagan are big heroes to Satanists. They're very much involved in the idea of justice, both natural law and judicial justice. The Satanists generally tend to be quite well-educated people, mostly decent people, and what I do like about them is that humor plays a big part in their lives. They're very funny when it comes to memes and things like this. Humor is a big part of it. And LaVey Satanism, and then what you would probably call the agnostic Satanism of today, kind of addressed the element that Crowley said was missing in modern magical traditions, that being humor, but then they're not magical, they're atheistic in scope. Anton LaVey, while, you know, the Satanic Bible is a very good read, and there's a lot of great wisdom in it. He was also very funny. The way he dressed, you know, he trolled everybody by dressing up like a Batman devil's outfit. That was just to wind up idiots, and they were, God, where they wound up, you know. That, you know, posing with naked chicks in his arms and women on altars and inverted pentagrams and Baphomet and all this stuff. That was just purely to troll the evangelical Christians, and it was hilarious in its day. But he sometimes came across as not as intellectual as he made himself out to be, and most of his kids aren't, except Zena LaVey, who's now a Buddhist. She was a fine-looking girl back in, no, she probably still is, but I mean, she probably did more to bring fellas into Satanism than anyone. She'd be on shows like daytime talk shows in America, looking absolutely gorgeous.
I forgot he said that in this video about Selena.
Very good common sense, very articulate, extremely intelligent, very appealing, very beautiful eyes and everything, and very striking looking. But also the intellectual nature was amazing, very calm and rational when approached. She was probably did more to bring people into LaVey Satanism than anyone, along with himself. Then you had since then, when I said that this is kind of postmodern Satanism, doesn't really have a formal structure. It doesn't appeal to any particular system of ritual or anything. It's just a belief that it's basically an attack on Abrahamic religions, or well, the inverse of that. So that's, you know, a lot of positives there. And normally, I would say, the times in my life I flirtated with atheistic things back in the day, I would have probably jumped on Satanism if there was that, if it was more accessible then. And I read the Devil's Bible, and I liked a lot of it, but I did. The problem was, the reason why I'm not a Satanist is because, one, enormous factor is missing from it. Spiritual identity, that's missing from it. It does not believe that there's a spirit or a soul as such, that everything is, in terms of that, can be explained away or reasoned away.
Except
in things
for
like psychology
theistic and spiritual
neuroscience.
Satanism, that does happen.
So therefore, it flutters on the edge of being a bit dangerous in terms of reducing people just down to machines. So, and the spiritual dimension and the need for ritual. You see, Anton LaVey did an inverse ritual of the Celtic triumphant Mass. I can't pronounce it. Tridentine Mass. He did an inverse ritual of the Catholic Tridentine Mass as a mockery, as a pageant, as a farce. So that was kind of appealing, but it was still ultimately atheistic. The Luciferian path that I follow, the pagan Luciferian path, has much of the same concepts of social justice within reason. Doesn't mean it's the same thing as social justice warrior, and human rights appreciation and promotion, with a strong emphasis on the natural cycles of the world and the cosmos and the universe, and connecting those natural cycles to the archetypes and the dynamics of the subconscious mind, the psyche, the soul, whatever you want to call it. There is a spiritual dimension. Now, if you'd ask me what a spiritual dimension is, it is the unseen force that can't be quantified by.
It's you, but you're me?
Here I am, field trip chaperone.
Before helping prevent migraine with Qulipta, it was hard keeping plans.
And look at me now.
You'll never truly forget migraine, but Qulipta reduces.
두 분이 사라지셨어요. 뭐 특별한 일 없으셨습니까?
The five senses, nor can it be observed directly through the scientific process, but it is the supernatural prerogative that drives me and my interest in my hobbies, my art, and everything else, my interest in nature. And that's very, very much and very deeply a spiritual dynamic. And this to me is like not done through a belief in a deity because I have a faith in the deity. Those deities like Lucifer, the ones I relate to, Lucifer, Demorican, Athena, they appeal to me because the archetypes that they represent appeal to me personally. And in a few years, I could move on to something else. Now, or incorporate more into that pantheon, the personalized pantheon. And that's where I think where Satanism fell down big time, is that it got too atheistic in its notions. Now, there's another aspect to this as well, is that Satanism is not very attached to nature. So it tends to be an urban. It wasn't the Temple of Seth in San Francisco, I think, or LA. It tends to be very urban in nature, where if you're more in a communion with nature and natural cycles, you are less likely to be atheistic, because you understand that there's something profoundly magical about the existence of life. Like I saw a lecture I went to a lecture in the US recently, and a marine biologist took out a protein jar of those kind of shakes that you get from the health food shop for bodybuilders, and then said everything that's in this container has everything needed to make life, to make a living thing. But she says there's no life in here. The difference between this and life are two different things. She said that science doesn't understand how life comes about. There's theories, but they don't prove anything. Well, what makes life comes about is the spirit, is the soul. Call it whatever anything you want, but that's what makes life come about. that factor, that life factor, that consciousness factor, would be the primary reason that I really wasn't interested in Satanism in terms of pursuing it as a lifestyle, because it didn't account for the spiritual dimensions of human beings, and it also, because of its urbanized nature, wasn't properly connected to the cycles of the natural world and the cosmos. You cannot be in the countryside or stand on the beach at night and look up at 1,000,000 stars and not fail to be awestruck by it. You can't have that in a city. That's why cities tend to be full of Satanists. And finally, they said there was no spiritual dimension, and there was no, and also the concept that it doesn't really allow for supernaturalism, and a belief in supernaturalism, even if it's any kind of paranormal or anything, it makes life much more interesting. This is one of the things these materialistic atheists don't understand. People are into things like ghosts and hauntings and UFOs and Fortean and paranormal phenomena because it's very, very enjoyable. It makes life fun, and they want to take away the fun. And the real reason why that makes that fun is because the person involved or interested in that stuff is reaching for something beyond that of the material being. And that's ultimately what traps Satanism. The Satanist is trapped in the world of the machine. I'm not only interested in the machine, I'm interested in the ghost in the machine too. So that's why I am not a Satanist.
That is what Satanism actually is, from an expert, my fellow target individuals of patriotic Americans. That's what Satanism actually is. It's not evil, but many of you have been brainwashed into thinking that it's evil. I hope you find this, what I'm saying, not offensive, and I hope you found what I showed you informative and a relief that Satan and Satanism isn't actually evil, and that there is no devil in your heads or devil in general making you or anybody in the world evil. Actually, it's what David Icke talks about, and a lot of these people that know UFOs, extraterrestrial research, it's evil extraterrestrials making us humans evil because they want to control us. It's not Satan, it's the aliens doing this. These extraterrestrials exist, and there's plenty documented evidence going back decades to even thousands of years, such as pictoglyphs in ancient caves to government documents and things like Admiral Byrd's adventures in Hollow Earth, and that Area 51 interview by Matilda McElroy, where she interviewed an extraterrestrial from outer space. You can also go to Basis Project, Miles Johnston, Basis Project, Kerry Cassidy, Project Camelot, Patty Brazard, Army Sergeant Patty Brazard, Karen MacDonald, Alfred Lee Beaumont Weaver, Exopolitics, Omniversity, and go to these people: Charlie Giuliani, True First Radio, Renegade Broadcasting, Jeff Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, Thomas Sheridan, and Ghost Scriptures on YouTube. Then you go to morgue official. These people will deprogram you from the Alpha Draconian Grey Aliens religious brainwashing to accept being enslaved, oppressed, and genocide because of a religion and a god of the religion. Both Christianity and Judaism worship an evil god and were created alongside with Islam to enslave people for evil extraterrestrial gods called the Elohim, Anunnaki. Kafai calls them the Elohim cult, but I call them the Anunnaki cult. They worship an evil Anunnaki god who thought of himself as the Most High King and an impersonator of the universe. He wanted to rule the universe, thought he would rule the universe. He is an incarnation of Yahweh, the Demiurge. Demiurge, an evil false god that impersonates God Creator Universe Source. This Anunnaki extraterrestrial is called Enlil. His Babylonian and later names are called Marduk and Belial. And today he's called Jehovah Yahweh / El Adonai. And the Romans called him Saturn. He's also called Thanos or Kronos. He is the person, the deity that has inspired the Grim Reaper, the personification and incarnation of death. And he is an evil tyrant who thinks he has the right to take people's life, and to the point that he is like death itself. And due to the fact that he's trying to impersonate the universe, think he's going to rule the universe, he actually does think he's death itself as well, because he thinks he's everything and he has the right to rule everything and take and kill any life form he wants. And he is an evil extraterrestrial. And ultra-terrestrial, by the way, look up the word ultra and then terrestrial. It means an extraterrestrial or human being who has ascended or achieved a state of transcendence where they are extraplanetary, planetary, and interdimensional in nature, and that they can warp the fabric of reality around them and go in different dimensions and do time and space travel, and even are immortal because they're in a state of being, a state of frequencies that is beyond death itself and beyond life and death, where they can live forever, which is called immortality, eternal life. This is what this real fucking evil dirtbag is. It's evil extraterrestrial, and you have been brainwashed to worship him. He also goes by the name Allah in Islam. This guy is not a great guy at all. He's a fucking fascist, monopolist, and sociopath who thinks he has the right to rule over people's souls and existence forever. And he does not, and he is getting his ass kicked by the United States military and by good extraterrestrials called the Galactic Authority. That's like the Galactic Federation in Star Trek. It's not for relation, the Andromeda Council, along with others. And Penny Bradley, a secret space program super soldier, said she put this guy in jail because the Galactic Authority wanted to trial him for doing harm to sentient beings, which is us humans, and he got what he deserved. Don't worship this guy. Don't fucking get involved in these fucking religions, and if you are, get the fuck out. is a spiritual and psychological trap to enslave you, and eventually your enslavement will cause you great pain and suffering and even death. Get out of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism and become an atheist, Satanist, Luciferian, pagan, or Buddhist. Don't get involved in the Abrahamic faith. They are anti-human, they are disempowering, and very illogical. You will have a better time being a target individual and have a better perspective of things if you leave Christianity, Judaism, and Islam and practice these religions in this list: atheism, Satanism, Luciferianism, paganism, Buddhism, and or Hinduism. And you can mix them up together, because you can believe in what you want to believe. You can cherry pick from religions, make your own little unique personal religion. You need to get the fuck out of these religions, because from what Cliff High says, there's going to be great wars and societal division in general, where Muslims, Jews, and Christians are going to be judged, ostracized, and they are not going to be taken seriously by the majority of the world, and that they're going to be considered traitors of humanity because they have been worshiping and working with people extraterrestrials for hundreds of thousands of years, and that they are being a liability to a threat to humanity. You need to get the fuck out of these religions, or bad things are going to happen to you. This guy, Cliff High, he knows what he's talking about. He's a researcher, and he's an old man who has seen a lot of things. He's even had near-death experiences and survived them, one in which he had to induce on himself in order to save himself from permanently dying. And this weird procedure he did using a very weird and hard combination of certain medicines, medicinal plants, I think, that I think some sort of monks, from what I remember him saying, spiritual people told him to do, and that they make the person die slowly, like autophagy, recycling their tissues or something like that, and then that restarts and reboots their system into a previous state and a better state where they're healthier. It's like a reverse aging kind of ritual and a prolonging your lifespan kind of ritual that requires you to go through something very traumatic. You need to get the fuck out of these religions. Go look up Cliff High stuff, Cliff High Sci-Fi World, and it'll teach you about the Elohim cult, which I call the Anunnaki cult, or just the Illuminati cabal. These people want to destroy us all, and they're torturing all of us target individuals and want to dominate and destroy the world. And then he also talks to you about how to manifest stuff, along with how people perceive the world, and just a whole lot of stuff he talks about. He also talks about Bitcoin and banks too. Look this guy up, and you gotta look this other old man up. Jordan Maxwell is also another guy you should look up. He says the same things. He used to be a Catholic, and he used to went to church and everything. and his family was involved in Freemasonry, in Catholicism and other stuff. He even said that he has seen a reptilian extraterrestrial before. I have to get to bed soon. Talk to you later. Take care and have a good night or evening, depending on your time zone. Tomorrow I won't be able to make a video because I have two doctor's appointment, one with a dentist and one to get blood work, and also my brother and my mother will both be home tomorrow. I'll make a video a few days from now, I think. 3 or 4.